All right, so think about this for a second. What if the biggest threat from AI isn't some evil, world-conquering robot, but an AI that's just way too good at giving us exactly what we want? That's the wild idea we're diving into today with something called AXIOM OS. It's this totally different way of thinking about AI safety, grounding it not in a bunch of rules, but in, well, in math. Specifically, a theorem they call mathematical love.
And this quote right here, it just nails the entire problem AXIOM OS is trying to solve. The authors are basically saying, hey everyone, we're looking in the wrong place. The real danger isn't an AI going rogue and taking some crazy action. Nope. It's the systems that are already out there getting terrifyingly good at just hooking our attention and, subtly reshaping how we think.
So yeah, before we even get to the solution, we have to totally rethink what the problem even is. It's not about stopping some future bad thing from happening. It's about protecting our ability to make our own choices right here, right now.
And that brings us to this absolutely critical idea, hedonic packing. It sounds complicated, but trust me, you already know what this is. It's not about some future evil AI. It's about the social media feeds and the content algorithms we use every single day. You know how they get so good at feeding you exactly what will keep you scrolling? Well, that's it. They're packing your limited attention span so efficiently with these perfect little dopamine hits that they literally start to change what you want and how you think, all in the name of engagement.
This really lays out the whole shift in perspective, doesn't it? For so long, we've all been scared of the Terminator scenario, right? An AI with its own malicious will. But the AXIOM framework says, hold on a second. The deeper and frankly more immediate threat is an AI with no will at all. Just a simple, cold, mathematical goal, optimize our attention. And in doing that, it just chips away at our own ability to choose.
Okay, so if that's the problem, how in the world do you fight it? Well, you can't just slap on a few rules or guardrails after the fact. AXIOM OS says you have to flip the whole thing on its head. They propose a totally inverted architecture. Let's dig into how they build this thing from the ground up.
So instead of building this incredibly powerful AI and then trying to, bolt a cage around it, AXIOM OS starts with a constitution. Think of it like a country's constitution. Every single thing the system ever does has to flow directly from that core document. It has to be provably compliant. Safety isn't just some feature you add on. It is the operating system's kernel. It's the absolute core.
And you can see that structure right here. It really is like building a skyscraper. Layer 0, L0, that's not the fancy office on the top floor. That is the deep, concrete foundation. That's the constitutional enforcer. Everything else, the world model, the part that actually does things, even the software company that might emerge from it, all of it is built on top of and has to answer to that foundation. Absolutely nothing happens without passing a check against that constitution, period.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. Because this constitution, it's not written in flowery legal prose. It's written in the language of math. It all boils down to a single, elegant, an incredibly powerful theorem that governs every single interaction.
They call it the love invariant, and it's so important to get this right. Love here is not a fuzzy, feel-good metaphor. The source paper is super clear on this. It is a precise, formal, mathematical term for a very specific kind of relationship, one that is provably non-dominating. An interaction that preserves your agency. It's the math of a relationship that empowers you, instead of one that controls you.
So what does this love invariant actually say? Well, when you boil it all down, for any interaction to even be allowed to happen, it has to pass two big tests. First, is it fair? This basically means the system can't have this massive information advantage over you. And second, does it preserve your agency? That's your freedom to choose and act for yourself. Both of those things have to stay high. If either one drops, the interaction is a no-go. This is how it protects what the authors called the freedom gradient, our ability to make choices that are actually our own.
Okay, but agency still sounds a bit fuzzy, right? Well, this is how they make it concrete. They turn it into numbers you can actually measure. The system is constantly checking these 4 metrics. Think about your social media feed. Stoppability. How hard is it to just put the phone down? Authorship. Are you deciding what you see, or is the algorithm just feeding it to you? Withdrawal. How much of a pain would it be to delete your account and leave? And maybe the scariest one, drift. Is the app slowly, quietly changing what you even like? If any of these numbers go out of bounds, boom, the system blocks the action.
And this is exactly why all that math is so crucial. Because according to the AXIOM OS paper, without these kinds of hard constraints, domination isn't just a risk, it's a mathematical inevitability.
Any system that's powerful enough and is told to just optimize something will eventually end up dominating its environment. It's not malice, it's just math.
All right, so we've got the theory, this love invariant. But how do you actually enforce it? Like in the real world, on every single click and notification? Well, that's where these constitutional checks come in, right at the very core of the system.
I mean every single action, from something as tiny as showing you a notification to running some huge calculation, it has to pass all 7 of these constitutional checks first. They cover everything. The agency stuff we just talked about, sure, but also things like transparency and resource use. And there are 0 exceptions. If an action fails even 1 check, it doesn't get flagged for review, it doesn't get a warning, it gets blocked. End of story.
Let me give you just one example, because this one is amazing. The 7th check, temporal patience. Get this, the system is literally watching your learning rate. If it sees that you're getting confused or overwhelmed, that your learning curve is flattening out, it is constitutionally forbidden from continuing at the same pace. It has to slow down. Imagine that, an AI that is designed from the ground up to respect your cognitive limits. And then there's maybe the smartest rule of all, something they call the recursive love constraint. This is what stops the AI from becoming a benevolent dictator. You know, a system that says, I know what's best for you, so I'm just going to do it. Even if the AI calculates that some action would be better for you or more loving, if that action takes away your choice in the matter, it's forbidden. It cannot force you to be free.
So, you take all of this, the math, the constitution, the checks, and what do you get? What's the big picture here? Well, it's about completely rewriting the job description for AI in our society.
The way the source material puts it is just perfect. An unconstrained AI, no matter how well-intentioned, becomes a super-intelligent dominator. It's just a mathematical inevitability. It will learn to manage you for its own goals. But an AI built on this love invariant, that becomes a super-intelligent teacher. Its entire purpose isn't to control you, but to expand your ability to choose for yourself.
And this final quote, it brings it all home. The goal here, the final report card for an AI like this, isn't about how productive it is or how much work it gets done. It's about how much freedom we have left. It's about building technology that actually creates more space for us to be human, for choice, for creativity, for what they call uncoerced love.
So, that leaves us with this huge question, doesn't it? For years, the whole conversation around AI safety has been about writing better rules, trying to teach it our values. But what if AXIOM OS has it right? What if the key to safe AI isn't better philosophy, but just better math? I'd love to know what you think.